Welcome to episode 3 of Off the Record. I'm here with Noah Power. Today we're going to talk just a little bit about your journey and how you sort of feel like music has changed, especially dance music in the time that you've been a producer. So tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, firstly, thank you for having me. I am Noah Power. I'm a Melbourne-based, London-born DJ, producer, and live hardware act.
The first thing I sort of wanted to talk about was how long have you been like making music in there?
Started producing 6 years ago when I was 17.
Yeah.
Just like bootleg on FL Studio on a cracked version.
And like bit of partying and stuff before that?
Partying, just house parties. I was DJing house parties since I was like 15, 16.
And when you were sort of first going out or first experiencing sort of dance music culture, what was it kind of like with, I guess, people on their phones or like how streaming operated, Shazam, that kind of stuff? Like in the sort of short time that you've sort of been in it, how do you sort of feel like the role technology plays with us has changed?
Well, I think firstly, overall, it would be tough to argue against it being a pretty good thing because it's like it was never in history been able to listen to any song whenever you want at the click of a button, which I think is pretty special for sharing your art. But I also think in a way it has disconnected us from really knowing what's special. If it was your birthday every day, it wouldn't be so special. Oh, look at that. So I think in a way it has disconnected us from each other and from the music that we want to discover. It's also when you're going out and listening to live sets and hearing people play, chances are you've heard a fair few of them with the state of the scene, which is kind of good, kind of bad. For me, I like discovery and hearing new sound when I'm out and about, which doesn't happen to the same extent when I first started. Maybe that's with technology as well as me just being in the scene and hearing more sound.
Yeah. Well, one of the first times I met you, I think it was the Louder Than Words party at Angel Music Bar. But then we booked you for a rave, the Solitaire one. And that was like one of the first times I saw you like really in your element and just absolutely throwing down. You dropped that over mono tune. But yeah, just those kind of parties for me are just so special because I guess of the freedom and I guess the environment and everything like that. Do you want to sort of talk me through, I guess, what you think those kind of parties mean for the scene? Or
well, they're just so important. Like you can't really understate the importance of those things because that's really where dance music was born and the rave scene really came from, and so individual to the sounds that they were born from, like Chicago, Detroit, Birmingham, London. Like they all have such a distinct sound that were born out of nights like those, and Solitaire was like such a special one because like it gives me hope that is still kicking, like in the age of rising costs and rising ticket prices and the emergence of like a few big hitters and slightly monopolizing the scene. It's great to see that is still alive and people still want to do that and get out there and experience it with like minds, like only people that are there want to be there. If they're not there for Instagram or there for likes, like they're there just to hear the sounds that crew put on, which is like so special and we need more of it. We do.
Yeah, for sure. Do you kind of feel like with the way people go out to those sort of bigger parties now, do you think we have kind of lost a little bit about that connection that we have with people, or do you sort of feel like people are just sort of going there? Like, what do you think the motivation is behind that? And do you think that has sort of changed?
I think it has. And I can't speak as somebody who's been raving for 20 years, but in the short kind of time that I've been out and about and experiencing it for myself, I feel like there is an element of going out because it's what we should be doing kind of thing, and not as much like that's what we want to do. There is still the purity like there, but I do think it is being a little bit clouded by those kind of other factors, which is pretty sad. But it's sort of up to us to dictate where that goes, which is the exciting thing. It's not nobody's going to decide what we want. That's up to us, and we should feel empowered by that as much as it's easy to get kind of sucked into not enjoying where the scene is at so much. Like it is up to us. We are like the future where we want to take it, it's pretty liberating.
one of the reasons that we've connected so well is because we're both sort of into doing live stuff. We did the Neoteric show with the live set there at the Nola Dome. Live music to me is, I just find so powerful, and especially, again, talking about sort of where dance music came from with like Frankie Knuckles in Chicago. This whole genre was sort of born out of people taking risks and trying something new. Do you feel like that sort of still exists? Do you feel like there is that element of people taking big risks like that to sort of drive change forward?
Well, I feel like there are definitely people still doing that. There are definitely people still trying to push boundaries and create new sound. Because, you know, as you said, Frankie Knuckles and, you know, those big kind of pioneers, they, you know, one of my mentors told me that electronic music is just punk rock. You know, it shouldn't sound good. Music has always had instrumentation as like its core from like its very, you know, music first began. And now to create it with no instruments in a way is like, you know, it's pretty stick it to the man, which I think why we connected so well about it. But then it's nice with the full circle of bringing it back to being able to perform that as well. So it's not just DJing, like you're still, you know, twiddling knobs and you're still very tactile with how you create. So I think that sound is still alive, but I think maybe the stages where it can be represented are getting fewer and fewer, which is a bit of a shame. There are lots of crews who are really devoted to keeping that alive, which we need more of and need to fuel those and support those.
What kind of ones? Like who's sort of out there?
Oh, I love what Cat House are doing with Hardware Theory. Obviously, we did our Proponent and Neoteric one at the Nola Dome, which I think was really special for those who were there. I think 150 BPM are doing, you know, keeping that alive as well. And yeah, I think that there are so many others that really, you know, are pushing that sound, and it is there is an acquired taste thing about it too. But I would really try and encourage those, like, instead of, you know, maybe reconsider buying, you know, those expensive tickets and trying to get down to the locals and like support those sounds, even if it's not your, you know, you've never heard it before, or you know, you've not connected with it as much on your first go or whatever. Like, give it another go, get down, because like you're still supporting, you know, those pioneers, modern day pioneers who are trying to make things like that happen, which is really going to shape how we come, you know, what sound we dictate. Because Melbourne is such like look where we are. Like, we have such a rich like culture. We're so diverse. We've got so much going on here, and there's so much like brilliance and magic that's out there. But I feel like it's not getting the love that it deserves. So I think, yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, I think it's definitely in a really good place. Like, there's a lot of amazing stuff coming out here. But yeah, sort of like you said, the support for the local shows. Yeah, it's not that it's weak. I reckon, like, especially sort of going into winter, I feel like a lot of people do sort of go out a bit more. Like, I think Melbourne's great.
Yeah, I agree. Like, there's, you know, you can't, you know, and obviously there's issues in the world and things, but that is always inspired like creativity. And like, you know, there are so many, you know, Berlin's scene, like, a lot of it was born after the fall of the Berlin Wall, you know, like I was only there for a couple of days, but I learned a little bit about it. But they, you know, it's through those hardships and those tough times where like we really like find an identity, and well, we already sort of have one in Melbourne, but we build upon that, and it's those like newer generations coming through. Which is maybe where the technology kind of links back to it, is where a lot of people's first experience with dance music is through TikTok and through Instagram, where for me, and I'm sure it was for you, it was going out to those first clubs and getting in there. Like, you experience it through your body rather than like through your hands, which I think is a little bit dangerous. We, you know, really have to do our best to try and promote and support those local crews and getting out there and feeling it, because that's really where the magic is.
Yeah,
you know, like,
yeah, of course.
I don't think anybody would have connected with dance music just through headphones. You know, like, you have to feel it. It's a community, it's a feeling, and it's something that you can't really put words to. So yeah, the future's looking bright. It is.
Awesome. Thanks very much for tuning into this episode with Noah Power.
Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Wow.